Liberals are the enemies of God, thus no logical alliance can be made. Let's talk about psychological operations, shall we? I just received my last patch in the mail. It says minds, deeds, and words. You have the feather again. You have some sort of symbol of communication. And you have the eternal flame. It shows that they're taking advantage of the radio waves, the news networks, social media, what have you. Okay? Actions speak louder than words. But what they do is they use their words to confuse you about the meaning of their actions or what their actions really are. I tell the truth. At this point, I would like to compare the, you can tell I've been wearing this for a long time. Go back to my older videos. Okay? See how the color is red. It's faded, what have you. And what do we have here? Freedom, right? I'm a real freedom fighter, not a government crony, lackey, or shill. These controlled opposition bitches would have you believe that they mean to free you. But one quick look, and notice it has, 15 psychological operations, right? For example, this one's the 3rd psychological operations. Power to influence. And here, flat out, they say, look, we're exploiters. The sword and the feather. The feather which represents the primitive pen, right? The different ways that they used to. They're showing you that this is the evolution of communications, of psychological operations, of propaganda and unconventional warfare. They're like, we've been doing this for a long time. These patches tell you flat out that they apply MKUltra and mind control to this day. Flat out. There's no way around that. This one spells it out for you more. It says, look, we've been doing this since the ink and the pen, right? And the feather pen. And, the history of America. We're maintaining and we're distributing. We're using these things now and so on and so forth. Right? Power of persuasion. We persuade people. Do we always do it in a good way? You can tell by this Afghanistan patch, psychological operations, that no, it's not always good. You have the 2 lightning bolts similar to the Nazis. That's a recurring theme. Psychological operations. Unconventional. The horse moves in an unorthodox manner on the chessboard. And then you have the pink, right? The gender feminist kind of Eastern Star, New World Order, satellite communications, psychological operations. So when you look at everything and you consider what they're doing, it is impossible to think that I'm wrong. They deal in lying, trickery, and exploitation. They're bragging about how they exploit underdeveloped nations and disenfranchised people. They're bragging. Okay, they're not bringing true freedom. It's part of their propaganda, and that's why their propaganda units use the same symbols that you find. The primitive propaganda of the Freemasons and the founders of this nation, is still being used. It's still in effect. So, you would be a fucking fool not to see it my way, and a greater fool not to take my side. I am Chukwuemeka, the top martial artist, and I am being persecuted for my political views by psychological operations units who, by the book, go against black militants, uncontrolled black militants, who are freedom fighters. If you don't understand that, if you think that police officers on CNN sticking up for the police against the Black Lives Matter movement means nothing, you're an idiot. If you don't see that the Black Lives Matter movement co-opting the black militant movement against the status quo and the governing class is controlled, you're a fucking idiot. How can you not see they're controlled? How can you not see that they're going way out of their way to find any reason they can to try to make it seem like I'm not worthy or deserving or qualified to be a leader? First they try to play me out as mentally ill. And then now they're fucking saying, well, you admit that you have minor cognitive impairment. You have major spiritual impairment. You have major moral impairment. even cognitively impaired, I still present the superior view, the superior argument, and I'm more respectable. And I'm quite capable of communicating and conversing with advisors and coming up with a superior strategy. I am a fucking tactician. They still can't beat me. I'll consider, one of your inferior points the moment somebody beats me. But as long as I'm the top martial artist and I have the only challenge that matters and the best demonstrations, fuck you and your opinion. Was it you? No, I did that. This video is about two things. One, it is better to be angry than to suffer from minor cognitive impairment, MCI, and have people think that you're an idiot because of how you articulate yourself, especially during the periods you're drugged. Number two, it is much better to be gang stalked and have your honor intact, even if you aren't as good as I am, than to benefit from what they're doing and live an unworthy and dishonorable life. It is much worse than that even if the world is to find out what you're doing. The best thing martial artists can do is go on record, admit that I'm the best, and admit that they've been benefiting from what's going on. We all know that fighters and martial artists study videos of the competition. They're aware of who the competition is, okay? Do you really think 4,000 videos, a top martial artist challenge, and the staff at their gym commenting on my videos means that what I'm doing has escaped their notice? It's ridiculous, outlandish, preposterous, inconceivable. Now, when you look at the article from Healthline or WebMD and so on, you quickly come to the conclusion that quite often MCI, or minor cognitive impairment, leads to dementia. These are long-term effects, things that psychiatrists won't bring up for the life of them. The closest I've ever heard from all my dealings with psychiatrists, the closest I've ever heard from them is, well, there are some side effects, but don't worry about it. Or I wouldn't worry about it. Don't worry about the fact that between 1,000 and 2,000 people die from psych meds every single day in Western countries alone. It's no big deal. It's 500,000 a year annually. It's no big deal. So what is going on is, at this point, is similar to me being drugged heavily with antipsychotics and hit in the head with a 2x4, periodically throughout the day. I still have a superior argument and a superior mind. If I was to disgrace them naturally, which I have, it would thoroughly be embarrassing to them. But the fact that I'm doing it drugged with minor cognitive impairment, which is obvious in my videos, one of my last videos, you can hear, the hoarseness of my voice as I was listening to the last 3 minutes. There's a 25-minute video. I'll put it in the comments. As I was listening to the last 3 minutes, I was like, wow, if they can't tell that that's drugs and there's no way that's a mental disorder, that is completely inconsistent with any known mental disorder, especially when you consider that they don't know what they're talking about anyway. And that is absolutely consistent with fuming and drugging. Unequivocally, there's no way around it. I was like, they're drugging me, except for in a way you couldn't possibly fake. It's like, well, I wonder, does those 2 witnesses and his fucking voice corroborate his story? I would say yes. Do the 9 witnesses of the psyop corroborate his story? Do you really think the people who live 15 minutes away, who commented on my top martial artist challenge within a few months and have participated in gang stalking, magically are unaware of my top martial artist challenge? Impossible. Impossible. So now that we've established that the martial arts community is aware, well, why are they being silent about it? Because they don't have honor, right? They're like, well, anything that's bad for the competition is good for me. They lack the foresight, the insight, the introspective skills to say, well, you know, this is bad for society, which means it's bad for me. An injustice for one is an injustice for all. If I turn a blind eye on them doing this to him, isn't that bad karma if I'm a Buddhist, for example? Aren't they probably going to do this to me later on down the line, or to my descendants, if they ever decide to do the right thing like he has done? And the appalling lack of balance. You know, I know Buddhism enough to know that if there is an extremely negative balance in society and you're a part of it, you're benefiting from it, you are supposed to balance it out with good deeds. They have not. They have allowed this negative balance in this very important aspect of daily life to go on unchecked, because they're not really Buddhists, they're really selfish. And you see that a lot in this, you know, moderate society. People who aren't really religious, they're just really selfish and cowardly, and they're conformists. You know? How many of you understand the difference between being transcendent and being a conformist? I mean, are they really compatible? No. Why do you think they have Buddhist retreats? Because in order to transcend, it helps to move away and go to the wilderness in order to transcend. But instead, they're complicit. So this non-action kind of philosophy is void when you consider that they have taken action and they have benefited. And that's why I swear to God, I'm never going to let any martial artist train me or give me advice, you know, when it pertains to martial arts. Automatically, I don't fucking care. I don't want to hear your opinion. I don't want to hear what you have to say. And if you speak on it, even if you think you're trying to help me, you have dishonored yourself, your family, your race, and everyone on your team and in any group that you're in. I don't want you to do that, and I don't give a shit what you have to say. I swear to God. I'm grabbing the Bible right now. My sunglasses falling as I grab the Bible from the shelf. I swear to God, everything I just said is the case. I don't want any martial artist advice. I'm never going to let them train me. I'm never going to fucking pretend I'm not the best. And I know 100% sure, you know, I know 100% with my mind, body, and soul that I'm the top martial artist. And this is an example of the mild cognitive impairment. I lose my train of thought, which gets in the way of me doing my critical thinking and thinking deeply and constructive thinking. But I pick up where I left off. So what I have is, what's basically happening is just like with my martial arts, my thought process is slowed down, but it's still more powerful than theirs. You know, it's like they're riding a bicycle. I'm driving a Lamborghini. I might have slowed it down so I'm just faster than they are, but I still have that power. Every once in a while, I'll put on the accelerator and I'll dust them, you know? So I'm still a more qualified leader. The number one leadership quality is wisdom. Number two is longevity. I've shown both. I'm consistent with my uncontrolled opposition. Uncontrolled opposition. Say it with me. Uncontrolled opposition. And I have never stopped being wise. In order for someone to be prepared to be a leader, they must listen to my videos and see it my way. There really is no way around it. It's either you understand what it means to be an honorable person or you don't. And these are lessons I consistently teach. More than just, you know, quite often, but almost every single video I touch on it. Honor, righteousness, virtue. And I'm sick of the bitch shit. You know? You imagine being the top martial artist and all these sissies and tights and these weaklings and these conformist cowards and these slow weightlifters, you know, that you would fucking stab 100 times before they could lift their heavy arm fucking up to hit you, you know? Are pretending that you're not the best, benefiting from your MCI, minor cognitive impairment, from your neurological damage, from the fucking, you know, adverse effects, or really the direct effects of antipsychotics, which are probably the most powerful psych meds. And anybody who knows even a little bit about psychiatry knows that the most powerful psych meds are going to fuck up your brain. They're going to fuck up your body. There's no way around that. And ask yourselves, why did they continue to do it? Covertly drugging me all these years to no effect. Have I ever, even for a moment, changed my perspective? No. I've always been a man of God, talking about the same things. All they're doing is fucking up my body and my mind. Is that something that someone who's trying to help you would do? Or is that a very cowardly act from a greedy, lowly American dog? And you wonder why most of the rational world, keyword rational, hates our guts. Every once in a while they see someone like me and go, yeah, I respect that individual American, but Americans are fucking scum. And so help me God, they are right.
Never forget that wars are about philosophies, and which side has a philosophy that is more like yours? Why do you think the communists had re-education camps or realignment camps? To align your philosophy with theirs, so that you have one of several philosophies that line up with theirs. For example, if you're in a Marxist society, if you're just a communist who's a non-Marxist communist, you don't have to be a Bolshevik, then, your philosophy will line up. If you're a socialist, your philosophy will line up, enough compared to being a pure capitalist, for example.